Good afternoon, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure and delight to see you all join us this afternoon. We know that it's the end of the term for many of you, and the fact that you've taken the time to spend with us this hour is really a testament to your commitment to your students and to this project that has been supported and really resourced by AARP under the guidance of Dr. Winifred Quinn. So we're going to take about an hour this afternoon just to do a high level review of the mentoring program and to specifically speak with you about where we are now in the journey. This is a journey we started on together approximately 2015, and we have made tremendous progress and growth in the program. And so now we're going to share with you the next steps in terms of how we move forward. And to get us started, I'm going to invite Dr. Quinn to go ahead and speak to us about the purpose and the goals of the program today.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. DeWitty. And greetings to everybody. Thank you all so much for all that you do in preparing the next generation of nurses to care for patients and support families. Supporting family caregivers is something very much that AARP is dedicated to, and obviously also supporting the health and well-being of people 50 and older, and really people of all ages. So at AARP and the Campaign for Action, we are dedicated to helping to achieve health equity and eliminate, or at the very least, reduce healthcare disparities. And we know that one of the ways to do this is through a more diverse nursing workforce, a workforce that reflects communities being served, and nursing workforce that can educate peers on social determinants of health and circumstances within underserved communities so that nurses of all backgrounds can better understand the patients that they are caring for. So we have been, the Campaign for Action has been supporting the HBCUs, the Hispanic serving schools, and the American Indian Alaska Native serving schools for the last several years. And we are particularly interested now in two ways that we want to focus on supporting you. And that is through fundraising, and then the other is what today's topic is on, which is recruiting and managing your mentors. So we have provided at AARP through the Office of Volunteer Engagement, we do have a process that I think Jasmine is going to explain about how prospective mentors for your schools could be recruited through AARP's Office of Volunteer Engagement. So, Vernell, did I hit all the points that you needed?
I think you absolutely did, Win.
Okay.
And I would also like to introduce my colleague and co-pilot of this event, Jasmine Cooper, who you're going to hear from in just a minute. Jasmine is really the glue that holds all of this program together. So briefly, today we're going to speak about the essential elements for having an effective mentoring program, and then talk about the resources that are available for you so that you can really kickstart your program, and then to learn more about the AARP volunteer mentor recruitment process and how it can be a strong resource for you, for your students. Over the years, what we heard from schools of nursing was that finding mentors was one of their greatest challenges in growing and sustaining a program. And hearing that, AARP under Wynn's leadership said, wait a minute, we've got all these retired nurses who are interested in mentoring nursing students. And so we have now once again looked at how does this form a bridge between the students who need mentors and the nurses who have a tremendous wealth of knowledge and experience that they may be able to share with your students. Today's webinar is focused on students. There was a webinar earlier hosted by AACN that looked at mentoring faculty. This webinar was co-sponsored by AARP as well. If you're interested in viewing it, it is hosted on the AACN website and you can access it there at no cost. So today we're going to make many references to the mentoring toolkit. And Jasmine has dropped in a link to this toolkit so that if you want to pop it open at some time during the webinar, especially when we move into the breakout rooms. We will take time to go into breakout rooms so that you'll be able to engage in dialogue with your colleagues to discuss your mentoring program, and then we'll come back together and learn what you have shared among yourselves, and then move forward. Right now, before we get started, we have a few polling questions that we're going to ask you to respond to. So, Jasmine, are you ready to open up the poll?
I had to unmute, but yes, I am ready.
Okay. All right, you're going to see 3 questions come up, and we're going to ask you to just select the response that is most appropriate for you and your school. There are 3 questions, so just scroll down so you can see all 3 of them. Once you have answered each question, make sure you hit the submit button, and then we'll look at the results. Is everyone able to see the polling questions on your screen?
Great, I see some
Okay.
responses coming through.
Okay.
I'm having trouble. I'm on my phone.
Okay, let's see, how can I get that to you? Hold on 1 second.
Jasmine, how many responses are you seeing now?
Right now I'm 36 of 48.
Okay.
I know there's a couple people who are on phones, they may not get it. I'm just gonna put them in the chat. And if you
Okay.
want to respond to them in the chat, you can.
Okay.
Okay, and so I'll give it another few seconds and then we'll end the poll and we can discuss the results. And just remember to scroll down. We lost quite a few people on that third question.
Okay. Just use the slider that's at the far right of the poll. Just slide it down and you'll see the third question.
Okay. Ready for me to end it? Oh wait, I see a couple more people answering. Okay. I will end the poll. All right. So as it pertains to the first question, how would you describe the current status of your mentoring program?
Jasmine,
38.
can you show the screen? Can you do that?
Let me see.
Release it.
So
There we go.
I can see the poll.
Oh,
Okay.
can you? Okay, good.
Maybe because I'm a co-spot, maybe
Oh,
that's
maybe
why.
We can
that
all
might be.
see it now.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yes, we can
perfect.
all see it. Okay.
All right, so since you can see it, I guess you can talk through it, Dr. DeWitty.
Oh, okay. So, in response to the first question, we see that 31% of you plan to start your mentoring program within the next 6 months, the next 2 months, and then 28% of you have not quite decided yet. We hope that at the end of this program today, you'll have a better idea about when you might be ready to get started. Um, 38% of you say that you're in the early stages of implementation, and 46% of you have not started your mentoring program yet. So, hopefully, this webinar is going to be helpful for you as you begin to look at starting your program. And as well, for those of you who are in the early stages of your program and might need some additional dialogue or suggestions in terms of getting your program started. Um, and then in response to the third question, which was, what is the most essential success factor? Um, Most of you indicated students' engagement in the program and then a clear purpose for your program. So I think this are some good indicators for us in terms of where you are and what might be helpful for you in terms of getting a successful mentoring program started at your School of Nursing. So this is very, very helpful information. So let's go ahead and get started now.
And for now,
Sure.
Dr. DeWitty, just to let you know, in the chat, I said for people who feel comfortable, who have, I said there were five participants who have noted that their mentoring program is fully operational. I'm curious to know who they are because we could potentially tap into them for peer-to-peer support.
Okay.
Okay. So in the chat, I've asked people if you're comfortable to identify yourself, or you can email Vernell or Jasmine and me. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and hopefully when we get into the breakout sessions, you'll be able to share even more about your program. So let's get started now. When we think about a mentoring program, and we know based upon the research that's been done that mentoring is a very important element for student success, for student retention, for student advancement in academically into the nursing programs. And many, many research studies have validated this. And we know that overall mentoring programs are focused on growth and development of students, and they can include broad forms of support that might be professional, career, as well as emotional support. Mentoring relationships are personal and reciprocal, which means that it's not a one-way street where only the mentee receives. Mentors also gain benefit from serving in the capacity of mentor because that allows them to also to continue to grow. And in relation to students, mentors have more experience. They have a lived experience and they have a background and knowledge that they can share with the student. Um, this once again just emphasizes the research that demonstrates the importance and the value of mentoring specifically for students who are members of minoritized groups. There's a lot of research that has been done, particularly in nursing, about the benefits of mentoring for those nursing students. One of the things that I have learned over the years in terms of working with schools of nursing and helping them to build mentoring programs is that uh, it's often not approached from wanting to structure it per se. It's more or less um, often a hit and miss, kind of a haphazard kind of way of doing it. Yeah, we have a mentoring program, but it really doesn't have very much of a structure. We haven't really built it out. So, what we're asking you to do now is to think more intentionally about what the mentoring program is, what it is that you want it to accomplish for your school as well as for your students. Many of the schools will be given additional resources to help you to make that happen. So, this is a time to begin to think, well, what is it that I want this mentoring program to do? And how am I going to know that I've achieved the stated purpose? So when you're thinking about planning your program, um, what are the activities that you want to build into it? What are going to be the goals of the mentoring program? And there are lots of details to think about in terms of how you structure it. The mentoring toolkit, the link that was placed in the chat, um, it's on AARP's website as well, so that you can refer to that toolkit, which is filled with ideas, with templates that you might think about. How do I use this? How do I make it work for me? So you don't have to start at ground zero. A lot of the groundwork has already been laid for you. And now, on top of that, AARP is making available for you mentors that you might be able to use to help you accomplish your goals. When we think about the program development, you have to think about the design of your program. Do you want to have one-on-one mentoring with one mentor, one student? You might have a mentoring program where you have two students to one mentor. You might have a small group of students with one mentor. What is going to work for you in your school and for your students? The next step is finding mentors, and this is where AARP's contribution is so important, because many of the schools said, well, we can't find the mentors. Well, guess what? AARP is recruiting people, they are vetting the persons, and there is an online training program for those mentors so that you will, and Jasmine is going to tell you in a little bit more about that and how it works, but you can be assured that when you get information, these are persons who've been vetted and they have gone through an online training program in mentoring. Then the next big thing is, um, once you think about your purpose, how you want to design it, how do you want to set it up, then when is it that you want to start the mentoring program? And many of you have indicated within the next 2 months. Some of you have indicated, I don't know when I want to start it. Um, some of you might be fully operational, but think about, when do we want to start? You'll be getting some support, some financial support, many of you will, to help you get it kick-started. You know, how do you make it happen? How do you bring all of your students together and begin to inform them about this mentoring program? Think about the participation you want. Do you want your mentoring dyad to meet once a month, twice a month? What's the expectation that you want to see? Those are all decisions that have to be made as you're building out your mentoring program. Now, in the toolkit, and this is on page 17 of the toolkit, there's a whole introductory template there for you. So look at it, think about the questions that are there, consider, this is what my school looks like right now. Um, these are the objectives I want to accomplish. Do I want to include all of my students in the mentoring program? Do I want to focus in on my rising juniors and seniors in the mentoring program? What is going to be the target for the mentoring program? I can tell you from experience when I was working with the HRSA schools and we really did launch the mentoring toolkit. Um, Once students saw what the mentoring program was about, all of the students wanted to participate. And that was a good thing because now they saw the value and the benefit of it, and they wanted to very much be a part of it. So think about that. And so now I'm going to turn things over to Jasmine to talk about another very critical step in the design of programs, which is the matching process. How are you going to make the decisions about what students to match with what mentors? So Jasmine, take it away.
Sure, thank you. So many of you may be familiar that we piloted the program earlier, I believe this year, with AARP's Office of Volunteer Engagement to offer a nurse volunteer position to where we can recruit either retired or active nurses to sign up to mentor at one or more nursing schools. And with that, it entails signing up through AARP's volunteer program portal and completing several steps. And one of those steps includes a 15-minute questionnaire that once completed, we use that as a form as like the first step within that matching process. And that questionnaire basically entails going over the mentor's academic and nursing and mentoring history. It really kind of goes over their career, what the specialties are, what organizations they're a part of, everything that we could really think about that would help you look over their application and determine what would be the best way to match this person with one of your students. So sometimes their need might be in terms of whatever their specialty could be, whatever their career choice could be. So we really go in detail as to what their history is to allow you to be able to have that matching process. We then list out and we have schools select, the mentors select what school they want to mentor for. I'm sorry, mentor at. So there's several schools that are listed that have indicated they're ready to receive mentors. And so they go through and they select the schools that they're interested in mentoring with. In addition, the volunteer portal then has a curriculum for them to where they complete a set of different activities that involve a webinar about how to be a mentor. There's a questionnaire, just kind of refreshing their mentor act. Refreshing what it is and what it entails to be a mentor. We also have a library that kind of is very similar to pulling out resources from the toolkit that kind of goes over different questions and things like that, just to kind of help them have resources about how to build that mentoring relationship once they are matched. So we really try to give them as much information as we can to help build that relationship once they are connected with the school. And then the next thing that we wanted to just share with you on the next slide is kind of an example of what some of the communication could look like once you have selected a mentor and once you have established what student you would like them to be matched with. This is a sample letter that was sent from Mount St. Mary's to several mentors about their program and what they could expect as it relates to mentoring at their nursing school. And this is just something that you could use or just kind of get an idea as to what the communication is like once we do match you with, or once we do send over the mentors to your school for you to match them with your students. Um, And for those, schools that we're working with, we really do try to sit down with you to kind of identify what you need. So that way we're sending over the correct people to you based on what you're looking for your students. And Dr. DeWitty, you're on mute.
Thank you, Jasmine. And just to emphasize, Once Jasmine has the complete profile of the mentor, and that mentor has selected the schools that they would be interested in working with, because we do have the list of schools, and the mentor gets to select schools, and Jasmine sends you the profile, so you have the information that they have provided to AARP, so that then you can then begin to think about, oh, this is someone I think that would work well in my school, and they might do well with these students. And then you connect. It's up to the school to then connect with the mentor, and then begin to do the matching, and then you bring the pair together. And that's when you begin to now really zero in on this mentoring relationship, and thinking about how are you going to bring them all together. Mentoring really does take place in phases. There is the preparing, the getting ready, and then there is the negotiating or establishing the relationship. Once the pair is matched together, then what is it that they're going to talk about? What is going to be some of the goals? How are they going to connect? And then the real work of um, meeting periodically, checking in to see how they're doing. Are we accomplishing the goals that we identified together, meaning mentor and mentee? And then eventually the relationship closes. A mentoring relationship doesn't go on forever and ever, not unless the people decide that's what they want to do. So you can think about, okay, what is it that we're going to have in our mentoring program at my School of Nursing? Is it going to last a semester? Is it going to last 2 semesters? Thinking about all of those decision points is something that reside with the School of Nursing. And getting ready, and one of the things you might do is, okay, we've got these mentors and we've got the students. How are we going to bring them together, and so that they can get to know each other? And now what we want to do is we're going to ask you to go into a breakout session. And we have facilitators, Jasmine, for each room.
Yes, we do. Hmm.
Yeah, so you're going to go into a breakout room, and in the breakout room, um, there is a lead facilitator, and what you will be doing is together thinking about what is going to be the purpose of your mentoring program. What do you think you need at your School of Nursing? And then think about some broad goals for your program, and then thinking about how do you want to design it. So we're going to give you about 15 minutes in the breakout room, so that together you can talk about those big ideas with your colleagues, and then we'll come together and share what it is that you learned with and from each other. Right. Well, here we are, the Hollywood Squares, and I'm hoping that that everyone had a chance to interact with your colleagues, share ideas and thoughts. I was very impressed by the conversations that I heard going on. Jasmine, do you want to call out the groups for us, please, so that we can hear a little bit of a report out from each one of the groups?
Sure. From group one, I believe that was
It's-
Valerie Flat's group.
Yep, Gladys. Yeah.
Flatus, thank you. Hmm.
Yeah. So I went through the 2 questions in the PowerPoint. So what's the purpose of the mentoring program? And a couple of folks, or 3 people actually, spoke about that the students are different. Some programs are more diverse than others, and that the students, they each have different needs and they need guidance. And they're younger. So like they're graduating from high school at 17, like 17 to 19, and they're not ready for the rigors of a nursing program, even though they may go in as a junior. So they're more stressed and they're more anxious. Um, and that also, for some students, English as an additional language can also have some issues for them, and that they struggle. And so how to be able to support those students, and actually focusing on a program which will help them to decrease their anxiety and their stress levels, as well as support the English the students who are English as a second language. I know there's another term, but English as a second language. And then also time management and study skills, developing a program that helps students to focus on those things, as well as really looking at the content and being able to prioritize. And then with the goals, it's developing effective time management, developing critical thinking skills, um, not panicking with assignments, and being able to do some planning. And then another goal might be helping the student to realize, or not realize, utilize resources that they're not using, and also to develop a growth mindset so the student feels supported and encouraged, as well as developing their critical thinking skills.
Okay, thank you so very much. Sounds like that was a great discussion. Jasmine, who was the second group?
Did anyone take the lead for the second
This is
group?
Mary Cook. I think I was
That's
in
what I
group
thought.
2.
Okay, yeah.
And I took the lead. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't know if there was anybody, but anyway, my role is a little different because I'm the executive director of the Ohio League for Nursing. Yes, I do also teach, but I was looking at this from the perspective of us as a organization of nurse faculty and nurses. We would supply those mentors. And so we would come out and approach the universities. And I actually started to do that with a university here in Canton, Ohio, where I actually live. And so we intend to get together with that. It's an associate degree program. And so I'll find some nurses. We're going to do that at the beginning of next year and just kind of go out as an evening together. So something like an evening with a nurse. And so then they could see what practicing nurse or faculty, getting an idea of what real nursing is about and why you need to know the things that we ask you to know. And so that would help that first connection. So that was one of my things, is to connect students with practicing or retired nurses to form a mentorship for success, not only in school, but in practice as well, because we are seeing a large number of our nurses leaving in sometimes 3 months of employment. That's really sad. We're not meeting those needs somewhere. So then some of the other individuals in the group, they've talked that they're doing currently doing mentorship with the students, so peer to peer, the senior class mentoring the younger classes, developing formal programs that are designed for student success. And so you have that peer mentoring because they've noted gaps between pre-nursing and then nursing. So you've got them out there, they're doing their thing, and then they jump into nursing and they need some support. And Sandra Olanatori, I'm sorry if I killed your name, but she had some good questions about, they have faculty who their nurse faculty are being mentors to their students, and they did this. It's called an immersion program, and they have a minimum face-to-face with the student that they're mentoring, and they have just a few faculty who are doing it. So the faculty member may have 3 or 4 students. So her question was, is there a number that you should have? Like, what is too many for a mentor to have, I guess. And so, but she says they are seeing some improvement in the success of their students with this bonding and this setup that they're doing.
Okay, well, thank you so very much. And I see Dr. Angela Sledge. Dr. Sledge, I saw your face a short time ago. You want to share the discussion from your group, please? I think you were one of our facilitators.
Hello, everyone. We were in group 5, and most of us were in the still planning phase, but it was brought out that from North Carolina A&T that it was just the best practice framework would be a purpose for starting the mentorship, to have the graduates, the rising seniors, prepare and get ready for graduation, and even have that support post-graduation going on. Also, someone was exploring their pre-licensure program as well, trying to get the earlier, getting in contact with students earlier and addressing needs. Another goal was to increase the confidence for a long-term goal. So once they have the rising seniors, someone was focusing on the rising or the seniors and graduating seniors, and building that confidence so that when they go into practice, it's more of a long-term effect than just the mentorship at the time. And then the final person for her colleges, primarily Native Americans. And she was looking for sustainability. It's an ongoing program. I believe she said since 2015, but continuously finding mentors to add to that sustainability, as well as funding would help them continue with their program, because she says she has a lot of input from the community. So finding those retired nurses to support the Native American students.
Thank you so very much. That
You're
was great.
welcome.
Yeah. And Dominique Williams, Dr. Williams, you were going to report out. You
Yes,
and Dr. White were going to tag team.
yes. So we discussed having our mentorship program started with newly admitted students to help with professionalism, soft skills, and work with them throughout the entire program so they can build that relationship with them. My colleagues also talked about implementing their program this spring and helping the senior students build confidence and prepare for NCLEX, as well as just getting their mentorship program going, new faculty starting, and hopefully implementing and developing their mentorship program.
Okay, Dr. White, did you want to add anything to those comments?
She did awesome. Just that we are going to be starting ours in the spring when we come back from the break, and fully implement it, because now we've got some more faculty. It's been a challenge with staffing. So that's it.
Okay, thank you so very much. And I see we have another one of our facilitators, Dr. Lysindra Campbell Law. Are you with us?
I am, but I don't think I was one of the facilitators. I don't know if I was designated as such. I was actually, and excuse me for not becoming on camera because I'm in an environment where I can't, but I attended group 5, and I don't know if I had an opportunity to give any feedback. But in
Okay.
terms of the goal, one of the things that we want to do, and this is the University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas, is to have re-engagement. One of the things that happened with us is that we have a student success center, but during COVID and afterward, we then had some challenges re-engaging our students. And so we've had some changes as well. So now that we have a new director for the student center, we're beginning that process where we're kind of re-engaging students and getting the word out. In terms of our model, for advising, we kind of use the intrusive advising model. And with that, mentorship comes with that. And so the new person on board, I'm having conversations with her so that we're exploring additional opportunities for how we make this work. And we see that the need is really needed with our new, our students coming in, professional development and those kinds of things. And also when they're exiting, because getting them ready for moving into the workforce. That's one of the things that our key stakeholders in our advisory committee has said, that they're seeing that our new graduates are struggling. And usually within the first 6 months or a year, we're
Okay. Okay, I think we lost your audio. Um,
is
were there
that
any?
can you hear me?
Okay, you're back now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Do I connect this new person who is now the director of the Success Center with, with you all, so that she becomes, familiar with what it is that we are trying to do? One of the reasons I attended the last conference is because we didn't have someone in place, and I wanted to make sure that we had representation. But I feel that I really do need to, introduce this new person so that she's aware of what our goals, our objectives, and our purposes
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Yes,
that would be
absolutely.
an excellent idea. And I hope that each of you were able to share and to learn from each other. And I'm looking at the time, and I don't want to keep you too long, but we were a little bit late starting, so give me a couple of more minutes, and we're going to go ahead and proceed, because there's some additional information that we want you to have, and also to give you a chance to do some ask questions before we get done with our work here today. So I'm going to go back to sharing, and I'm not going to spend much time talking about this. We mentioned it in terms of being one of the steps of the mentoring process, the negotiating, and that's something that happens between the mentor and the mentee. And then within the relationship is the growing and the facilitating learning. Now, oftentimes, and I think some of you indicated this with our polling questions about some of the challenges that you might encounter. For example, learners who may not engage, mentors who may not show up or deliver as they are expected to do, and sometimes a lack of leadership that supports the program. Now, with the work that AARP has been doing, the efforts are directed to addressing some of these challenges in terms of, how you might be able to build a successful program design so that you are not don't confront some of these challenges. And with this, I'm going to ask Wynn to come online and speak to you about the role of the liaison who is going to be working with this program.
And with that, I would also like to introduce you to the liaison. So if Donna, can you unmute your microphone? I saw you, I've been seeing you, and I assume that you're still
here.
with us. All right,
I'm
great,
here.
great, thank you. Okay, so we have limited staff, and we really want we want to be identifying and recruiting mentors for all of your programs, or as many programs as possible. And we know that at least 60 prospective mentors have finalized their entire application, and Jasmine or Geneva has tried to connect each of those 60 people to the schools that they identified. Many of those 60 people were never contacted by the school, but we understand that there's challenges across the board, right? You're under-resourced. There could have been a turnover with the person that we were reaching out to, et cetera, et cetera. So, and so we went to AARP's Office of Volunteer Engagement, and we were talking to them about it, and it's there where the portal exists. And Will from that team suggested that we recruit another volunteer who could be a liaison, who really acts as a communicator between AARP and the School of Nursing. They could, so this will be Donna, and Donna will be the person that alerts you or will follow up with you after Jasmine or Geneva alerts you that you have a prospective mentor. Donna will follow up with you in a few days to say, were you able to contact your prospective mentor? Is there anything I can do to help you? What is it that you need that AARP can continue to support you with? So again, we just really want to try to help alleviate any stresses that get in the way with you actually utilizing the prospective mentors. And you might even say, that person wasn't really a good fit for what I need right now. And that's really good feedback for us. And then we could maybe even explore more who you're looking for. What are the skills that you're looking for? So, we're also thinking that Donna could host quarterly sessions with, have open office hours with the schools of nursing. You could join, stop in, this is what we need. Is there any way you can help me with this, et cetera, et cetera. And then Donna will relay that information back to us. So Donna, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? I know that so many of the people on this webinar were with us in September. You presented along with Narissa, who I also believe is on the call, on the second morning with Jasmine and Dr. DeWitty. So how about if you reintroduce yourself and yeah, do that.
Well, I was in group 4, so I did speak up and introduce myself a little bit there. But overall, yes, I am very excited about this new role to help volunteer and move the mentorship program forward. I am a very, very involved AARP volunteer. I've worked with AARP volunteer program since 2014, 15. So I'm very, I say, excited about the role of the volunteerism of AARP. They're very, very committed to the community, to the needs of those who really look out and work with the volunteers, and being a nurse, a retired military nurse, and I've had plethora of experience across different platforms of nursing. So I've always been very passionate about the future of nursing. So, it's a win-win for me being a volunteer and as a retired nurse, and has had mentoring opportunities, not only as a mentee, but as a mentor along my career. So I feel it's a good fit. I'm excited about what I can do to help support this initiative moving forward in this new role as a liaison. So that is me in a nutshell. Thank you for having me on the call.
Okay, so now we're at the point, and I'm gonna stop sharing, where we can now have some question and answers that you may have about moving forward. And I guess to summarize, our time here today was to help you think about getting your mentoring programs kick-started. Now that you have the opportunity for receiving some resources to help you fuel this, we wanted to make you aware of other supports that are available, so that you understand when Jasmine sends you the information about these mentors that, oh, these are the people. Let me see, how I can use the mentors for my students in my School of Nursing. A lot of effort has gone into the recruitment and the vetting of these individuals before they are presented to you. Their profiles are presented, and we really do want you to think about, how you're going to connect them to your students, how you're going to match them, and really getting your mentoring program started. I think it's a wonderful opportunity because we are all vested in wanting students to be successful, especially students who are members of groups that have been, who are historically minoritized, and we need the diverse nursing workforce. And one way, of course, is that once you get them into your schools, we have to get them out of your schools. Mentoring is a proven success strategy for student retention and progression. Um, are there any questions that you may have for Wynn or members of the group? Or Wynn, any closing comments from you?
So I've actually been answering questions from several people in the chat. You're also welcome to ask questions verbally right now. And really, so for the schools that joined us in September, you get to be the lucky ones who are receiving a very modest amount of money as an incentive to recruit and utilize mentors, hopefully mentors that we send to you. But you also use that for mentors you find otherwise. So one person just asked me, can we use this money to send some students to an alumni program? And I said, well, talk to me about how that fits in with mentoring. And she said, I will invite the alumni to become mentors. Perfect, perfect fit right there. And so just think about using that modest amount. What if I have a mentor who would like to be part of the AARP? Christina, that's great. Send them our way. Introduce them to Jasmine and me, please. Thank you. Another person has asked about finding mentors for faculty who are mentoring students in research, and these are underrepresented students in their undergraduate program and doing research. And so there are faculty who are mentoring them. She's looking for mentors to mentor those faculty. So yes, we can try looking for nurses from the community that are similar to the students who are being educated and are learning how to do research, so that they in turn can help the faculty who are less familiar with the communities that are represented in undergraduate programs. We can definitely put that out there.
And another thing that you might want to consider, because one of the high responses was that students who may not engage. Well, what if you think about, is there some kind of a modest incentive you want to give the students for full participation? Maybe what you might say, okay, for all the students who engage, who participate in the mentoring program, at the end of the semester, we buy you a scrub, or we give you some money to pay for a book. So think about how might you use some of those resources to incentivize your students to actually engage. Another way that you might think about it, well, let's see, I want to get this program kick-started. I'm going to host a luncheon, and I'm going to just give them a little food to eat. And college students always want to eat. So host a luncheon, bring them over. You might have the profiles of the mentors who've come to you. They might want to look at them or either share information about them, and the student might say, hey, that person has an interesting background. I would like that person to mentor me. So think about ways in which you can be as creative to get the program started. And I think once you get it going and you see the benefits, it has a way of sustaining itself to some degree. So you're not restricted in terms of what you can do as long as it relates to the mentoring and the mentoring program. So, think about it. Maybe you might want to say, okay, you have to take this exam. We'll offset the cost of that, or we might, reduce the cost of it for you. So think about ways that you can incentivize the students to so that they would be willing to participate and engage in the process.
And hold it off for the end of the semester to make sure that they participate throughout the semester.
Yeah. Okay. So are there any other questions or final closing comments?
So
Lynn?
Dr. Harvin is asking if we offer a formal orientation. There is an orientation in the AARP volunteer recruitment portal,
Yes.
and Jasmine can correct me. Part of it is orientation to AARP, and part of it is orientation to mentoring, and that was designed by Dr. DeWitty.
Right.
Does
Yeah.
it include any other?
So it's a webinar about how to be a mentor, and then it's like a questionnaire of like just a mentor questionnaire, and then we have additional resources that go along with it, including how to like actually set up your mentoring relationship, what the goals are, how do you want to engage with your mentee, like all of those things are some resources that go along with it. So once they are matched, they already have a format in place about how to build that relationship.
Yeah, and if I can add one more comment to that, Jasmine, in the orientation for the mentors, we also have posted to the AARP site two webinars that speak to mentoring across cultural differences. And those were webinars that were hosted for the Hispanic serving institutions, schools of nursing, as well as the American Indian schools of nursing. So we did make sure that we included some of the information about some of the cultural differences as well.
So, so there are a few questions, and Jasmine, I think it would be if you helped. One is, how do we access the webinar? So Jasmine,
Yes.
in the chat, and this was sent by somebody on the phone, and so maybe you could
Yep.
reply and send resources after in an email or tomorrow. So Jasmine just replied to you who asked on the phone with the link of how to access the webinar. And does the mentor automatically get the webinar when they sign up?
Yes. So once you are admitted into the portal, you automatically have access to the webinar. And the webinar is actually on our landing page. And I also put the link on our YouTube site about or how to be a mentor. And so that link I also responded to. And then what's the initial process for the program? We just start the program.
And so I have a question about that, Dr. Richardson.
Yeah.
Do you mean at your school, what would be the process, or do you mean for the prospective mentor in the AARP portal?
No, for the school, because I'm sitting in for Dr. Courtney Neongay. She had a meeting. So I don't know, she may already know that process. I just wanted to make sure that when our school is ready to start initially, is there some type of application or someone we contact or?
And what school are you
This is
with?
Tennessee State University.
And you should, okay. So I believe you already submitted the application.
Okay.
Oh, is this for, let me ask another clarifying question. Is this for, to get the funding, or is this just in general for starting a mentoring program in general?
I bet it's probably just starting maybe because I think she already mentioned that the funding. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Now, if I may, offer your services to schools when they have specific questions.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Richardson, you can email us and Jasmine and
I'll put my email in there.
Okay, great. And request that you have some time with Dr. DeWitty to help you get started on your organizing your mentoring program.
Okay, thank you.
And Dr. Galang is saying the student mentors that we will use for spring 2024, I think you mean 2025, do they need to sign up for AARP as mentors? 2025. So the student mentors that we will use. So do you, so Dr. Galang, do you use students for mentors?
Yes, for student success. Like senior students mentoring junior students, yes, or first semester students.
That's great. That's a cascading model, right? So
Yes.
part of a cascading model. So, do we need to sign? They do not need to sign up
Okay.
as AARP volunteers.
Okay. But if they want to,
Yes,
They are
can.
more than
We'll
welcome.
take them.
okay, awesome. Thank you.
Serve people
Right.
50 and older, but really,
We'll take
we
it.
support people of all ages, and
ARP will
event,
not complain.
right, that's
Yes, I mean these are, I mean, in let's say for example the fourth semesters that I have right now, they're going to be nurses in next month
right.
when they take their NCLEX January. So I'll give them the opportunity to to volunteer as mentors.
And
Thank you.
I think Dr. DeWitty also calls mentors such as seniors or younger students or first year students as near peer mentors.
Yeah.
Near peer mentors.
Yeah. And that's another acceptable model for mentoring. Need to have someone who provides some guidance for the group. So hopefully, there's someone helping to guide the mentoring relationship with the groups of students.